Hi, and welcome to this Hasselblad X2D Spotlight. I'm Mark Witney, Hasselblad's Photographer Relations Manager, and I'm joined today by my colleague Chris Cooze, who's Hasselblad's Global Technical Communications Manager. Today's Spotlight is going to be on the displays of the new X2D camera. So Chris, tell us a little bit more about the electronic viewfinder.
So in comparison with the previous models, we've upgraded the X2D electronic viewfinder to a 1/2-inch OLED display.
Okay.
We've increased the resolution of that unit to 5.76 megapixels as opposed to the previous model that was 3.69. So we've increased that resolution quite considerably. So that gives us extra resolution. Obviously, the display is 24-bit color.
Right.
So that in combination with 100% viewing area and a magnification of 1x gives you a true immersive experience. It really is like looking through a window.
Okay, so you get a greater sort of representation of what you're actually shooting through the viewfinder. Okay, and the magnification level, I understand that sort of makes the field look flat in terms of the view.
Yeah, so in combination with the diopter correction, which we'll talk about in a second, basically you get a flatter viewing image on the EVF. It really does look in terms of a wider display. So literally with a 65mm XTD lens, looking through the viewfinder, you'd have an equivalent view to you looking out normally.
Okay. So I was playing with this earlier, you talked about the diopter correction. So we've got, on the previous model, we had like a little dial.
Yes, yep.
And we haven't got that on this model. So how does it work on this model?
Okay, so to improve the adjustability of the diopter, as it were, the electric refractive error correction that's built into the X2D allows a display to be pushed into the EVF. You can then use the thumb wheel to adjust the actual, shall we say, the lens correction position.
Yep.
So that can then be electronically stored.
Okay.
Now, the refractive correction then gives you a flatter field. So looking through the viewfinder, literally the edges and the top of the frame view are, shall we say, straight. There's no pincushion type effect. It's exactly rectangular. So from a viewing point of view, you know, you can look into the corners, you're sure the composition is right and it's sharp right up to the corners.
Okay, great. So that's the viewfinder. What now about the rear screen? So is it the same screen as previous models?
Yeah, so the 3.6-inch screen from the X1D Mark II, that was a pretty good screen. So in terms of image display wise, we've kept that and then just improved it by fitting a tilt mechanism. So now we can tilt the 3.6-inch display basically up to 70 degrees. And obviously that then is more useful for accessing the screen for photographers.
Okay, so like real world benefit of that, you can shoot lower down and not have to, you know, get the same level as the viewfinder or the screen. You can tilt it upwards to shoot waist level. Exactly.
So in terms of usability from a low level or maybe on a copy stand, you can see what's going on in the camera without having to actually physically get up and look at it.
Okay, and one of the other differences that I can see here, obviously the X1D II used to have a control dial on the top.
Yep.
That's now been replaced with what we now call the shoulder display.
Yep.
So what's the primary use of that?
So the primary use of the shoulder display, the 1-inch display, basically is to show your shooting parameters, so in terms of shutter speed, aperture, white balance, along with the frames remaining and the battery condition in terms of percentage left.
Yeah.
Because the mode dial has been removed from this model, effectively we've moved that function to the M button on the top.
Okay.
And so when you press the mode button, you can then select your camera mode basically from the shoulder display. Obviously, it's still available to select through the control screen on the rear as well.
Okay. Okay, Chris, that's a good overview of the displays on the new Hasselblad X2D camera. If you'd like to know more information on the Hasselblad X2D, you can of course visit the Hasselblad website at hasselblad.com. You can subscribe to our newsletter for regular updates, and you can also follow us on our social channels. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you again next time. Thank you.